This is my sketch illustration of Romance from the K-pop Demon Hunters, and today I'm going to teach you each and every step so that you can draw this yourself. So grab a pencil and paper and let's get started. Welcome back everyone, and thanks for joining me today. For this lesson, I'm going to be using this 0.7mm mechanical pencil with a 2B graphite stick. Now if you don't have a mechanical pencil, you can use anything that you have around the house. Now I want to begin by breaking down the basic shape and composition of our drawing before we get into the details. So let's start by sketching a line coming down the center of our page. So I'm going to start at the very top in the middle. Just going to lightly work my way down towards the bottom using these short lines. Let's move up and draw another line going across from left to right. And these lines will help us balance out our drawing. And we're going to use these two lines to help us create a large circle in the center of our page. So from that center point, let's move up to right about here. I'm going to mark off the top of my circle. Let's measure this distance from the center down towards the bottom and do the same thing. And then we'll repeat that across this horizontal line. So measuring the distance from the center over towards the left and then the right side. Now I want to connect the center point of each mark with a curve to create our circle. Just working our way around. Now this circle doesn't have to be perfect. We're just using this as a guide. And just go back and just smooth this out as best we can. Now with our circle in place, let's add another set of guidelines coming down the side. So let's start on the left. Pull this all the way down towards the bottom. Do the same thing on the right. Now let's go to the bottom of our circle, draw another line going across. Now that we set up our drawing with our guidelines and circle, let's start blocking in the basic facial features. Let's start with the eyes. We want to create a gap in between the eyes, so from that center point, let's move over to the left. Right about here, draw a straight line coming all the way down towards the bottom of our page. Now we want to measure that same distance from the center over towards the right, and do the same thing, coming all the way down. Now we want to place the eyes just underneath that center line. So from this point, we're going to step over. Just going to angle the inside of the eye coming down and then in. Let's go all the way towards the outside. Angle this down and in towards the bottom of the eyes. And I'll just flatten this off with a straight line coming in. Now I want to go halfway between the center of our circle and the bottom right here. Just going to mark this off going all the way across. And you want to see the bottom edge of the nose because we're going to be tilting the head up. So from the center, angle this down and out to the left and right side. Just creating a little triangle. Just leave a gap in the center, draw another line going up towards that center line. Do the same thing on the right. And then from here, it's going to angle this up and then out towards the top of our circle. And this is the bridge of the nose going up towards the eyebrows. Now I'm going to raise the eyebrow. From the top of the eyelid, we're going to go all the way up to right about here. From this angled line, let's bring this down and then out. And then line this up on the right. Then pull this down and out towards the side of our circle. Let's place the mouth along the bottom of our circle. So we're going to start right here in the middle. Start with a curve going up and then down. And then just curl this up towards the corners of the mouth. Now we want to add some thickness to the upper lip. We're going to start right in the middle with a straight line. Bring this out and then down. Let's add in the lower lip from the corners of the mouth coming down towards the bottom of our circle. And then we'll just round that out. Now from here, we're going to go all the way down to locate the chin. Right about here, it's going to draw a straight line going across. Now we want to add some shape to the lower half of the head. From the outside of our circle, we're going to draw a straight angled line coming down towards the corner of the chin. Just draw that straight line coming down. Now this is the structure of the cheekbones. There's a straight line going across. And it'll layer the jaw in behind. Let's start back on the left, coming down and then out, so it's a little bit wider along the jawline. Then we'll angle this down and in towards the corner of the chin. Let's go back to the jaw. We're going to angle the neck, coming down and then out towards the left and right side. And then right here, it's going to slope the shoulders, coming down towards the bottom of our page. Now that we have the structure of the face, let's layer the hair on top. We're going to start right in the middle. Let's step down. It's going to mark off the edge of the hairline. From the center, let's bend this up and then out towards the left, and then the right, going up towards the top. Now I want to curl the hair coming around. Now I'm going to pull this in towards the top corner of the eyes. And one on the right side, we're just going to pull this on top of the eye, and then pull this out towards the side. Let's taper this all the way around and then back up towards that top point. Now we'll do the same thing on the left. going all the way around and then down toward that point. Let's go back to that widow's peak, bend this up towards the top of our circle, and then down. Now on the left side, I want to curl the hair coming down along the cheek. So I'm going to curl this in and then down, bend this up and then out, and blend this back up towards that top. Let's add another strand coming down, starting from the side of our circle, coming in towards the mouth, go all the way around, and then back in towards the top. Let's draw the outside of the head. Start from the top of our circle and go all the way around toward the top, come around toward the side, just blending that in. Now I'm just going to bulk out the side of the hair. So we're going to go out. Now let's pull this in toward the side of the neck. Now we're going to flare this out around the side of the neck. So we're going to start up here, bend this down and out, and then back in towards the neck. Let's add a couple more sections, coming down and in, and tuck that up underneath. And then from the side of the neck, we're going to add the edge of the collar, coming down and then in towards the middle. Now that we have the basic structure and composition of the head, I'm going to go back and clean this up by erasing some of these guidelines. Now once we finish cleaning up our drawing, I'm going to go back in and use this rough sketch as a guide to help us layer on some more detail and refine the shapes. Now I want to start with the overlapping parts first. So I'm going to start with the hair bangs that come down across the face. So I'm going to add a little bit more detail and shape. So I'm just going to start with the area around the eye. Just separating the strands coming in, adding a little bit of texture across the bottom. Just going to fade that up, and then work our way across towards the bottom. And just separating the strands across the bottom edge, up, adding a little bit of texture inside. Let's go over towards the right. So again, just going on top of the eye, separating out each of the strands into sections. And then from here, we're just going to start layering the detail in underneath towards the eyes. So we're going to start with the eyelid. And we want to balance this out. So we're going to go from left to right, just making sure we have balance in our drawing. Add a little bit more shape to the eyelid, just curving this up and then out. Then we're going to thicken up the eyelid, tapering that in towards the inside. Now inside the eyelid, just going to shade that in. Let's add some more shape to the lower eyelid. Just pulling this down towards the tear duct. So we're just pulling this down and bending this up and then out across the bottom and curving the eye up along the side. Let's draw the edge of the iris. Along this point, just pulling this down underneath. Go to the outside. I'm just going to lightly place this in first. Now, if we need to readjust this, we can go back and do that now. Over on the top left side, let's add a small little square, just a light square for a highlight. And I'm going to tuck the pupil in underneath. So I'm just going to trace the edge of the iris on the inside, going in behind that highlight. Now let's darken up the pupil. Starting from the top, working our way down. Again, we want to go in behind that highlight. Let's go back up to the top. We're just going to lightly shade in the outside of the iris. And I want to fade that down towards the bottom to create a bit of a reflection. Now we're just going to work our way across the eyebrows. Just adding a little bit more curve and shape. Add a little bit of thickness along the top, just along that same curve, tapering that out towards the sides. Now let's go in and just lightly fill the inside. And from the inside corner, we're just going to add a bevel to the side edge of the nose. So I got a thick line along the top and just tapering that down towards the bottom. Now moving down, let's add some shape to the nose. We're going to start with the nostrils, flaring that out. Come down along the side. Now I'm just going to darken up the top of the nose and then fade that down. Let's go out to the side of the nostrils and then just pull that up and then fade that in. And from here, it's going to taper that line on the side edge of the nose and then fade that up. Let's trace the bottom edge of the nose along the inside. We're going to place the shadows inside this little triangle area. So just outline the shadow and lightly fill the inside. Let's do a quick cleanup before we proceed. Let's trace the lip and then the lower lip. I'm just going to define the edge of the cheekbones from underneath the hair and then pull that in towards the chin. Now underneath the lip, I'm just going to add a little bit of a fold coming down. So curve going across. Let's add some shape to the chin, just rounding that out. And then going up towards the jaw. Now with the hairline, we want to add some texture inside. So we'll start with the center and just brushing the texture going up and then out. Just working with this curve. Just adding a little bit of texture inside across the top of the head. Now along the edge of the hairline, I'm just going to find that with this texture going up and then out. Now here I'm going to switch to a thicker pencil. It's my 0.9mm. I want to add a little bit more contrast around the perimeter of the hair. So we just want to darken up all those lines. So there's a nice separation between the face detail and the hair. I'm just going to separate some of the hair along the bottom, adding a bit more texture. Now we're going to add these 2 lines across the edge of the throat, just to pull this area out. And layering the color in behind. And we can just fade all that detail across the shoulders down towards the bottom of our page. Now I'm going to switch to the side edge of my 2mm pencil and just darken up the bottom edge of the hair. So we're starting along the edge of the hairline and just fade that up and then out. And this will help enhance that texture of hair and also the shadows. Also from the top coming down. So we get this nice little highlight area in the center. And with the cheeks, just going to drop it on the top and then fade that down. Just darken out the area above the eyelid, just very gradually coming in towards the bridge of the nose and then fading that down. A softer tone just going across the eye. Now I want to bring the shadow coming down from the chin across the neck in an angle. So we're going to start from the jaw on the left, coming down with a straight line, round this out and pull that up towards the right. And the shadow is going to be a bit darker, closer to the chin, and then we're going to fade that out towards the bottom. Now I'm going to go back in with my 0.7mm pencil and add those fine detailed textures inside the hair. So just working with the curve of the hair, going all the way around. Now as we get closer to the end, we're just going to tighten up our shadows and details, and always be sure to sign our artwork, and that's pretty much it. There's a sketch illustration of Romance from the K-pop Demon Hunters. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. You might want to check out this video over here. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.